The legendary Arthur Duke Reid was born in 1915 and during his 10 years of service with the Jamaican police force became a champion marksman. After retiring from the Jamaican police force, the Duke set up the Treasure Isle liquor store in Pink Lane, Kingston. Due to his business skills, Duke became one of the first as an entrepreneur to sponsor his own radio show, Treasure Isle Time and RJR, which promoted his liquor store, his rum bar and his sound system. His competitors stood no chance whenever they played against him due to the weight and the clarity of his amplification and the exclusive selection of hard-driving American rhythm and blues 78 reps per minute records. This led to Duke being crowned Kingston's undisputed king of sound and blues in 1956, 57 and 1958. In 1960, Duke retired from the music business, only to return 2 years later with the release of the single Rough and Tough, which was credited to Stranger, who was actually Wilburn Stranger Cole, an unmistakably Jamaican scourge road which became a massive hit. The liquor store had now relocated to Bond Street, where in 1964 the Duke built his own recording studio on top of the retail premises. The wooden construction of the Treasure Isle recording studio gave the recordings warmth and richness, and over the next 10 years, classic after classic records were produced there with resident engineer Baron Smith at the controls. Duke certainly had his own style when it came to producing music. If you went to his studio, he'd say, "Oh, where you come here for, man? You have any business?" And then he'd fire 2 shots over your head. The people would run. Everybody used to be scared of the Duke, but Duke would come to you and say, "I want you to do this." The musicians would argue and say, "Nah man, it's not fitting in the cards." But he'd fire 2 more shots and say, "Try it no man, I want to see if it work." It would work, and that's how he had so many hit records by getting the best out of his musicians. In 1969, Duke recruited Lee Scratch Perry due to the change and the speed and style of which reggae music was now heading. The new producers gave Reid a run for his money, and with Perry at the controls, this resulted in the hit Lockjaw by the underrated singer and DJ Dave Barker. Lockjaw was released on Treasure Isle, but was credited really to Upsetter. This new sound would shake up the music scene and change the direction of music towards dub and DJs. The stories of either King Tubby or Ruddy Redwood taking out the vocals of singles for special mixes of You Don't Care or On the Beach to make the first version have been repeated many times. No one can say for certain who was really the first, but no one can argue that the fact it was a Treasure Isle rhythm that gave the birth to the version and eventually dub. Now in comes New Roy on the mic and used sound snippets of the original lyrics, and other Jamaican DJs including Dennis Al Capone, who started to develop their own individual style of toasting while riding the rhythm, and Roy then transferred the excitement generated in the dance hall to the recording studio. Using some of Treasure Isle's greatest rocksteady recordings as their starting point, Roy and the Duke began to make musical history together. Their first 3 7-inch records, Wake the Town, Wear You to the Ball and Rule the Nation, had a top 3 spot simultaneously in the Jamaican hit parade in 1970. These recordings set the trend of music to come. Duke was one of the greatest producers Jamaica had. He had his own style and produced many great songs. So here are some of the many labels he released his songs on.